It doesn't matter what character I play, you're always your character's lawyer. You're their advocate. Dead Poets Society, directed by Peter Weir, starring, obviously, the great Robin Williams. I remember everything about that movie. Robin was a genius, meaning I never met anybody like him, remotely like him. He was a comic genius. Take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. They'd all be different. Just endless. But, funnily enough, he wasn't really the master on set. Peter Weir was a great leader and showed all of us how to be serious about making art. And that doesn't mean like self-serious. We played around. He had speakers installed in the classroom so you could just crank the music. I felt I was in the hands of a person who was a serious craftsman. It wasn't some airy-fairy like art thing. He was going to build a movie brick by brick. Todd Anderson was my character. It's an aspect of me that I've visited in other characters too. Somebody who has no self-confidence. And it was funny because I wanted to play Neil. There's the character who killed himself, is a really outgoing guy, and I was a pretty gregarious young man, you know, so I thought that I was more right for that part. And Robert Sean Leonard, who played Neil, thought he was more right for Todd because he was a very shy and withdrawn person. And Peter had this beautiful notion, Peter Weir, that you always cast for the final color, meaning that at the end of the movie, my character needed to stand up on this desk and say, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," and he wanted to believe that. He said that you have to act the shy part, but so then when the truth comes out, your real self is revealed. "Captain, my Captain."
Sit down, Mr. Anderson. You hear me?
Something I've never forgotten, casting for the final color. After Dead Poets Society, I thought that's what making a movie was like. Working with Robin Williams and Peter Weir. I had an amazing experience with these people, and that's what I thought making a movie was like. And I was continually disappointed after that, because it's not what making a movie like. Often it's business, often people are there for a paycheck. When things go right, it all seems very easy. And when things are difficult, then it's like, wow, you see how hard it is to make a good movie. Explorers, directed by Joe Dante, my first movie with River Phoenix. I learned a lot watching River's career. When he did My Own Private Idaho, it was an incredibly dangerous thing to do as a teen idol, to play a gay character. It's very common now, and it's one of the biggest things that's shifted from my generation to my son's, is people being comfortable talking about homosexuality. That was very verboten when River and I were 21. River was an artist. You know, he didn't think like that. He thought outside the box like that. His whole family, you know, were not ordinary thinkers. They were revolutionary thinkers. You know, they were the first vegetarians I'd ever met. I remember going to sleep over at his house, and I had these, you know, mushroom and avocado burgers, and I remember thinking, what is this? But they really opened my eyes, and River was a very beautiful person. And obviously, you learn that it's a dangerous road. Is the road of a teen celebrity, you know, or any kind of celebrity for that matter. Reality Bites, starring Winona Ryder, directed by Ben Stiller. So it was Ben Stiller's first movie. He was this immensely talented young man. He was a comic, but to my mind, he struck me as a comic the way Buster Keaton is a comic or something. I mean, he's dark and serious and wild and mischievous and strange and talented. And of course, it was really Winona's movie. Winona made that happen. Winona was the biggest star in the world at that moment, and that whole movie is her passion project. And you know, that character was another aspect of me, you know? I mean, pretentious and self-serious and full of himself and wildly insecure. And I don't know, it was guys I knew, guys I wanted to be, guys I didn't like. If you really do it right, it doesn't matter who you're playing, you really get immersed in their point of view. I love Troy, you know? Hey, That's My Bike is still the best name for a band. The Before trilogy, Before Sunset, Before Sunrise, Before Midnight, directed by Richard Linklater. I met Richard Linklater before Dazed and Confused had come out, but I saw an early screening of it because I was running this theater company, and he came to see the play that night. He told me about Before Sunrise. You know, he sent me the script. It's back, you know, before email and stuff, so we actually partied all night. I remember saying goodbye to him at like 4:10 in the morning, and then I woke up at noon, and there in my mailbox was a script. That's the way I remember it anyway, you know, with his handwriting on it. Hey, check this out. It was Before Sunrise, and I read it, and don't tell him, but it was a mess, frankly. But I knew I wanted to work with him, so I actually thought he was offering me the part, but he wasn't. I realized my agent's like, no, he wants you to audition. So I came in and auditioned a shit ton of times, and I finally got the part, and we started working on the movie. It was one of the best summers of my life. Summer in 1994 in Vienna with Julie Delpy, and all I remember is running lines. We just ran, you know, epic lines in that movie, and we just had to spend every day memorizing and writing. And people think, you know, the movie has the illusion of spontaneity. It's meticulously rehearsed, because if you watch that movie, a lot of the movie plays out in single takes. So it's not a movie you can find in the editing room. You can't cut anything out. So Rick would have to rehearse with us over and over and over again. We rehearsed that movie for over a month before we shot it. And that's rare with movies. 9 years later, we did Before Sunset, and 9 years after that, we did Before Midnight. I didn't have an idea there'd be a trilogy until we finished the third. We spent months and months trying to come up with a title, Before Sunset. You know, the first film had been called Before Sunrise, and everybody said, you're making a sequel, what's it going to be called? Before Sunset? And everybody laughed, because it just seemed so obvious, you know. And we were like, no, it should be called this, or we'd come up with some pretentious title, or this pretentious title. And finally one day, we were like, maybe we should just call it Before Sunset. People who are fans of it sometimes ask me, you know, will there be a fourth? And there's something that feels complete about it to me. The first one opens with a couple in their 40s fighting on a train, and the camera pulls back to reveal these young people. And then in the third movie, we are the couple fighting in our 40s. And there's something cyclical about that, to revisit those movies each decade of my life and getting it to be kind of this shadow self, an alternate universe where Jesse and Celine really exist, you know. And Julie and Rick and I, we grew to love Jesse and Celine. Still do.